Hey everyone, welcome back to Immigration Talk Show. I'm your host Sam, and you're watching Daily Immigration Dose streaming live at 4 p.m. ETT.
Hi everyone, this is Nipasa, your co-host for today's session here on Daily Dose, and this is Immigration Talk Show. So thank you so much for joining us, friends. Don't forget to subscribe to our channel. Our handle is at Immigration Talk Show, and we are live right now on YouTube and on X. So check us out, and you can also connect with us in these two platforms, and also on LinkedIn, Facebook, and on Instagram as well. And before we start off, I have this disclaimer to read out. And that is by watching our videos, you understand that the information shared, including user comments, is not professional advice. Use at your own risk. Our intention is never to offend, it's just a casual exchange of ideas. And I hope that you keep that in mind, friends, this whole session throughout. And you're also welcome to join us in this conversation, right, Sam?
Absolutely. And I think this is one of the best part of our daily immigration dose that our viewers directly get opportunity or chance, to get in touch with us. So friends, go ahead, dial up this number that is just on top of your screen, 425-436-6335 with the access code 988888. Of course, you are more than welcome to share any information or anything that you want us to let us know about anything about your status or any your point of view. We will love to have the conversation on that thing. And go ahead, dial up this number, and please join us on a call and go ahead with the conversation. Also, talking about today's topic is very important one and a very, very latest one. That is flying without a real ID after today's deadline. Here's what to know at the airport. So there's a very recent, I would say, a very latest update, that happened, and that's about U.S. Real ID. So we are going to delve into that topic. We will understand what is real ID, how you're going to get it. Also, what are the alternative options? Because people are really scared right now. They are thinking that only the real ID is the way. But there are some alternative options. There are some plan B. So stay tuned, stay connected with us, and let's explore this topic in a very detailed way and in a very great way. So I think without any further ado, Napasa, let's start with the news update. So please go ahead and let us know about the news.
All right. So, yes, I have a news update, and I'll quickly update you, friends, that actually, yes, USCIS and FBI recently helped convict an Indian citizen, Nasir Hussain, for immigration fraud. I don't know how many of y'all have already heard this, but yes, in 2021, Hussain entered a fake marriage with a US citizen in Connecticut, and they never lived together, but he faked documents to make it seem real, including insurance papers and even abuse claims. So, if you've already read the story, you know what I'm talking about. And he used this false story to apply for a green card under the VAWA program, which protects victims from domestic abuse. But during the trial, the truth came out. Even the woman he married testified against him. So, yes, Hussein has been in custody since last year and was sentenced to time served. Well, his earlier wire fraud conviction is still under appeal. And this case is a strong reminder that immigration fraud is a serious offense. And if you suspect fraud, you can report it directly to the USCIS also. So keep that in mind, friends. And this is the update I had for you.
That's
Over
right.
to you,
Thank
Sam.
you so much, Napasa, for your update. Okay, let me go with my news, and my news is friend about Florida. Florida leads U.S. in President Trump's mass deportation drive, sparking fear and controversy. So, Florida is now the top state helping President Donald Trump's team to deport the undocumented immigrants. So, this is something new, but let's see what it is. Over 500 local agencies across the US, nearly half in Florida, are working with ICE to arrest and detain all the undocumented immigrants, not just in jails, but also during traffic stops and in public. So, in a recent sweep, 800 people were arrested, including some with asylum claims or work permits. Critics say that the crackdown is tearing families apart and creating fear in immigrant communities, while supporters argue that it is needed for law enforcement. So, what do you think, friends? That is Florida taking a right step, or should the immigration system needs to be a little lenient for the immigrants? What's your call on that? Please let me know in the comments below. So I think this is about the news update from our end, and I think let's go ahead with the topic of our today's episode. And that's about flying without a real ID after today's deadline. Here's what to know at the airport. So, Napasa, most of the time people flying within the US, they often use driver's license as their ID, at
Yes.
TSA security checkpoints. And it is very convenient. And, whenever there is any card at your wallet, then you just take it out and show it to the ID, the place where it's needed. So that's how people used to do in, till now. The process has been like that way. But
Yep.
starting today, May 7th, 2025, a new travel rule is being enforced at all the US airports. And that is, if you are flying within the USA, then TSA will no longer accept your regular driver's license unless they are real ID compliant.
Hmm.
So you can see on the screen, friends, how this real ID looks like. Firstly, let me tell you, it's not a new card. If you guys are thinking it's a new card or something that you have to make it up, then no, it's not a new card. It's just a more secure version of your driver's license or state ID. It looks like your regular driver's license, and you just have to make sure that the real ID has a star symbol in the top right corner. And that's how you know it's a real ID approved. You can see the picture that is on your screen, that the small star picture in the top right corner. That shows that it is the real ID. And this is the one that you have to look for. Also, if we talk about why was it created, then after the 9/11 attacks, the government wanted to make ID cards harder to fake. So they passed a law to improve the security of driver's license and ID cards across all the states. And also, why is it important? It is important, friends. You need a real ID to board a domestic flights. That means, for example, if you want to travel, from New York to Los Angeles, and if you go to the airport with your regular driver license and you're going to show uh, your driver license as the ID card at a TSA airport security check, then that's not be acceptable. So you have to uh, get the real ID when you want to board a domestic flight, if you want to enter some federal buildings, or if you want to access military base. So these are the reasons where you need to have this real ID. And yeah, I think that's all. What is about the real ID? How does it look? And what is the main purpose? So, Napasa, why don't you go ahead and let us also know the other side of the story? What happens if you don't have this ID card?
Sure, Sam, and you actually put it right. The real ID requirement is being officially enforced, and starting today, yes, even short trips, domestic trips, you will really want to make sure that your ID meets the new standards. So I really, really hope that this doesn't happen to you. But just in case, let's say that you show up at the airport and you realize, oh no, like I don't have a real ID. So what happens then? So here's the thing: TSA has put a process in place to deal with exactly that situation. So, according to Homeland Security Secretary Christy Noem, you won't be turned away immediately. You'll likely be diverted to a separate line where TSA officers will try to verify your identity using alternative information like your name and address. And if your identity is confirmed, well, you'll go through this additional screening, or what you can say is a secondary inspection. So that might include like pat downs, back checks, or even additional questioning for that matter. But if they can't confirm your identity, you won't be allowed to board. And that's non negotiable. So this process is very similar to what happens when someone has their wallet or ID stolen, while on a vacation. So the catch is that it's time consuming, but the fact is that experts recommend arriving at least 3 hours before your flight if you're planning to go through identity verification and you already have, flights booked, and you probably cannot, you know, um, uh, you cancel your tickets. You really have to make that trip, and you still do not have your real ID with that star. So this is the thing that's going to happen, and it's advisable that you go hours before hours before you have to board your flight, so that at least you will make it on time. All right. And if you are planning to go through this identity verification, that is, so it's 1 hour earlier than the typical 2 hour domestic flight recommendation, of course. But I think you will have to do this, otherwise you may miss that flight, or you may not be allowed to board, just in case. And I really hope that doesn't happen. So, yes, it means longer wait times, more stress, and of course, possibility of missing your flight altogether. But I think you have to consider that, even a CBS News analysis found that at least 17 states were less than 50% compliant with real ID requirements just last month. So that means a lot of people might still be showing up at the airports with non compliant IDs and facing major delays. So I think you may want to check up on that as well. And if you possibly can, go much, much ahead of time. So check your ID before you travel and don't assume it's a real ID compliant. And it's very important. So, just in case you don't have a real ID, Sam is going to tell you what are your alternatives.
Absolutely. And I think that is also very important because it's not possible, to have one ID card with you all the time. So, of course, you need to know what are the other options or what are the alternatives. But before letting you guys know about the other options and the alternatives, make sure that you like, share, and subscribe to Immigration Talk Show because we together come up from Monday to Friday every day at 4 p.m. EDT with some amazing latest updates, so that our friends involve and interact with us on the latest news and let us know about the topics, what they think about it, and also get a chance to get in touch with us, get a live conversation with us by dialing up this number and putting up the access code. Okay, so now let me go ahead with other topic, that is what are the other options if you don't have the real ID compliant. So, friends, firstly, you don't have to worry that if you don't have the real ID, then you won't be able to allow or fly within the US domestically. Okay, that's not going to happen because if you bring another acceptable form also as an ID, then that's also okay. For example, you can use your US passport or even a passport card. That is acceptable. And if you are a part of a trusted traveler program like Global Entry, then that card works too. So here I have given you 2 to 3 options and there are more to go, so stay tuned. And if you are in the military, then your military ID will also get you through. And same goes for a green card holders as well. You can go ahead and show your green card in case if you don't have this real ID. You can use your green card and also an employment authorization card, that is EAD. This card is also applicable for flying within the USA, or even a veteran health ID that is also applicable. So these number of cards that what I have said right now are acceptable. And let me just give you a brief. I mean, again, I just want to repeat the names. That is US passport or even a passport card, also global entry card, then military ID, green card, EAD card, and veteran health card. So these are the cards that are acceptable. And if before you leave for the airport, then always you make sure that you double check your wallet or your bag and make sure that any of these ID, you have with you, you carry all these. And if there is no star on your license, if you're looking for real ID, then make sure you have got one of these backups handy, because I think carrying up or having some backup is one of the great options. So even if you think that you have real ID or if you don't have real ID, then I think this will be a little safe option for you. But I think Napasa, before that also, it's very important for us to understand, how to identify a real ID. So please go ahead and let us know more about this topic.
Sure, Sam. And to identify a real ID, I mean, let's talk about it. It's actually simple if you think about it. Look at, the top right corner, like you already mentioned earlier about the little star, right? So if you look at your driver's license or the state ID, if it has a gold or a black star, that means it's a real ID compliant document. And lucky you that you already have it. So if you don't see that star, your ID is not compliant yet, and you will need to either apply for a real ID at your local DMV or bring another acceptable form of ID that you will require when you travel. So I think it's very important. And keep in mind that real IDs are only issued in person at state DMV offices. So you'll need to bring your original documents like birth certificate, social security card, proof of address, and proof of legal status as well. So very, very important these things. Once again, I'll repeat: birth certificate, social security card, a proof of address, and a proof of legal status. So, and this will be only provided to you in person at a state DMV. So, these are what they will ask for, and after that, maybe the process will start. So, one more tip is, if you are renewing your driver's license soon, consider upgrading it to a real ID. And yes, I think that'll be very, very beneficial for you. And it usually takes just a few extra dollars and will save you a lot of hassle later on. So, do
That's
that,
right.
friends. Yeah.
And I think it's also very important for our friends, because some people they have, and some people they don't have real ID. So let's also get into the understanding how to get a real ID. So, friends, if you can get a real ID from your state's DMV or driver's license office, then that's great. And before you go, you always check your state's DMV website, because each state might have slightly different rules. So, you have to go ahead with that. And also what you will usually need to bring during your this process. You have to go with a document with your full legal name and date of birth, like a birth certificate or passport. Also your social security number, you have to carry that, and two documents that prove where you live, like a utility bill or bank statement or any address proof, and
Mhm.
proof that you are in the US legally, such as a green card or a visa or any legal document that shows that yes, you are a legal citizen and staying in the USA legally. Some states may also ask for more. So, again, I would say that check your DMV website first to save time and avoid any surprises. So I think, Napasa, our viewers understood so many things from our today's webinar. Because in this webinar, we have talked a lot about this topic. And
Yeah.
that too, it's a very latest one, very new one. So, friends, if you want to stay updated with any important information or any news update that's happening in the world of immigration, then I think subscribing to Immigration Talk Show is one of the best thing you can do right now. What do you say, Napasa?
Absolutely. And hit that bell icon so that you will be notified whenever we have updates for you or webinars like these, or we have attorneys join us for different discussions. So do that,
That's right.
friends. And Sam, we also have Cynthia join us. So I think we'll quickly read Cynthia's comment before we leave also. Hi, Cynthia. Thank you so much for joining us today. And Cynthia is saying a real ID driver's license is just one of multiple forms of federal identification accepted at US airports under the new rules. In fact, there are 14 other types of IDs beside a real ID driver's license that the TSA will accept from May 7th on. So, thank you so much, Cynthia. And definitely, friends, I think you should go check out more with your state DMV and see. I mean, what else is going to be accepted? But of course, we do have a lot more in the list. So I think yes, it's important, and of course, a U.S. passport, a passport card, cards from DHS trusted traveler programs like Global Entry, Nexus, or Sentry, a U.S. Department of Defense, which is issued to military dependents, like we Sam has spoken earlier, a green card, of course, a permanent residency card, a tribal issued photo ID, a federal employee or contract ID, a lot in the list, even a Canadian provincial ID card. So go check it out properly. And thank you, Cynthia, for that point as well. So
That's right.
yeah.
And Richard is also here. So, hi, Richard, and thank you so much for your comment. Michigan, Minnesota, New York, Vermont, and Washington issue enhanced IDs, which can be used to cross the US border in a vehicle. All right. The TSA said enhanced IDs are an acceptable form of identification at airport checkpoints. That's right, Richard. So, right now, today, the topic that we have spoken about real ID. I think that's very well put up, and I'll say that please don't confuse with the real ID and with the other ID cards. Make sure that you have the golden star in the top right corner, and that's how the real ID is. So, friends, you also have, we have shared the alternative options. Go ahead, check out that. And, if you want to get your reality, then also you have to look for the other pointers that we have shared, how you can go ahead and with the, different process, carrying the documents and different proofs, you can get your real ID. So I think that's all. Richard and Cynthia have also shared great comments. So thank you so much, guys, for being here and putting up this much into the conversation. So I think that's all, Napasa. We have covered a lot of things in this webinar. And what say? Shall we wrap up?
Yes, yes, we should. And Richard and Cynthia, if you haven't subscribed to our channel, do subscribe and we'll watch out for you and your comments even in the upcoming episodes. So, thank you everyone for joining us today. It was wonderful having you. Do subscribe to our channel. Our handle is at Immigration Talk Show. And we are on YouTube, LinkedIn, Facebook, X, and also on Instagram. On Twitter or X, we are at Immi Talk Show. So, check us out and tag us whatever, maybe if you have any questions about immigration or anything interesting you want us to cover, just tag us. And thank you so much, everyone. You can also contact me or Sam by emailing us in our mail addresses. My email ID is nipa@staffingly.com and Sam's is sam@staffingly.com. So if you have any questions or anything you want to know about US immigration, feel free to write to us. And you can also WhatsApp me or call me on my number. My number is 408-335-6444. Thank you, everyone, for joining. And I think we'll see you again tomorrow. So until then, take care, stay safe, and bye bye for now.
Bye, everyone.